Okay, folks, I have a lot of information that I want to share with you in a short amount of time. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And it's some very crucial, vital information that I want to share with you in regards to police procedures. Just a little bit of info on me. I used to be a deputy sheriff. I was a deputy sheriff for 3.5 years. I've done patrolling, anything from patrolling to running the jails, court systems. I've done it all. So I do have a lot of insight when it comes to police procedures. Now, as you all know, there's a lot of stuff that's going on with this police brutality, which has been going on, since the beginning of time, pretty much, if you will. But I want to shed the light on some things, and I'm just tired of sitting by and just not saying anything. And I understand that this type of information that I'm sharing with you could possibly even get me in trouble. But I don't care, because you have a right to know. And I feel like once you know this, you'll know your rights even the more. I wanna be brief, because I know everybody's attention span is a little different. But there's two words that I wanna use: force continuum. Now, this force continuum, before I show you, is this is like a go-to as far as how police how they govern themselves based on the use of force. This is textbook. This is what the academy teaches, or a lot of the academies teaches. It might differ in some respects, but make no mistake about it, I don't care if it's state, local, federal. This force continuum is how police officers, law enforcement officers, are to govern themselves when they are coming up against somebody that is non-compliant. So this force continuum, let me see if I can just show you very briefly. And I know it's not really a good picture, but you just your attention to this, okay, because this is a force continuum. Now, what is this? Okay, now I'm pretty sure you can't really see it, but don't worry, because I'm going to post it. I'm going to put it on my page so that you can see. But just to kind of go into detail a little bit, the force continuum. Now, let's say, for an example, the situation with, I'm going to use Eric Garner as an example. Eric Garner, where was he on this force continuum? In my opinion, there's a passive resistance and active resistance, which means somebody that is non-compliant, a subject that is non-compliant. Let's say that the officer is placing them under arrest, and they don't want to comply. They're resisting. How are they resisting? Well, we all know that Garner did not want to be arrested, obviously. But Garner, in my opinion, was more passive resistance, meaning that he was kind of trying to pull away from the officer. He was not hitting the officer, we saw in the video, but he was resisting. So what is an officer's level of force? An officer is supposed to match that level of force. So for an example, what was that officer supposed to match Gardner's level of force with? Okay, there's pressure points, there's arm locks that the officer could have administered, which I'm not sure if he did or not. But what is the next step involved? Let's say that he or she is still not able to get a subject under control, and let's say that person is becoming even the more non-compliant. There's such things as OC spray, which is this. There is the aspartame, which is this. There is, what else? There is tasers. There's all sorts of things that an officer has, and if you look on an officer's belt, most officers, you're gonna see this baton, you're gonna see the OC spray, and you're gonna see other things. They are supposed to be highly trained in using these non-compliant tools, these tools that will render render the situation more controllable, yeah, if you will. So, what am I trying to say? What am I getting at? Basically, the officers are not adhering to what they've been taught and being trained. Officers are taking the law into their own hands and they're trying these individuals and they're executing them. Let's take this situation that just happened, I think about a year or two ago, McDonald. This young kid was shot 16 times. The academy does not teach you that. Most academies would teach you to shoot center mass. I know a lot of people are under the impression, well, can't you just shoot to wound? The academy does not teach you to shoot to wound. It just doesn't. But the academy does not teach you to shoot somebody 16 times either. So there's a lot of things that officers are doing that they're not being trained or taught to do. A lot of these officers are not being trained properly. Background checks are not really being done. You know, it costs money to do background checks, but there's a lot of these people that are slipping through the cracks that should not have a badge and a gun because they are racist, because they are people that do not have, they're not good people. All of these things is a recipe for disaster, and unfortunately somebody's life is taken, and it's a shame this is what's going on. It really is, because these officers are supposed to control that situation as much as possible. Using deadly force, taking somebody's life is a last resort. But I don't know if it's laziness too mixed in with this craziness, this racism, or whatever you want to call it. It's wrong. I don't care how you slice it, it's wrong. You know? So we have to educate ourselves, and I hope that this is something that will shed the light on some things, you know. I'm going to leave this up, and you are more than welcome to view this, because it is very self-explanatory as far as officers and their level of force that they're supposed to be using, and they're not. And in most of these cases, all these cases, you don't see cops using pepper spray. You don't see cops using batons. You don't see cops. You just see them shooting people, that most of them unarmed, most of them not causing a threat, you know? And it's sad. And what's even more sad is that when these cops are being investigated by internal affairs, a lot of times they sweep it under the carpet because they know they don't want the department to look bad, because they know they're going to probably have to answer to the chief, you know? So a lot of things are swept under the carpet. I think legislation needs to be passed. I think that there needs to be another entity that comes in to investigate these officers that are, I don't know, maybe federal, maybe the DOJ, which is Department of Justice. There needs to be another entity, a higher level, that comes and investigates these situations to make sure that fair play is being exercised. But nothing's going to change until we really start to speak up like we are and continue. And this is just something that I feel that I need to do, and that I feel that is necessary for me to do. because me as a proud law enforcement officer, my life matters. 8 years as a Navy vet, or I am a Navy vet, but 8 years in the Navy, my life, it definitely matters. Black lives matter. Your life matters. So folks, again, I'm going to leave this up. I hope that you take the time and to look at all of this. I hope you take the time to really listen to what is being said. I know this video is long. I've tried to shorten it as much as possible. I've tried to kind of get everything that I needed to get out as much as possible. I know I probably missed something, but I'll probably get a lot of comments, but bring it. But again, we got to educate ourselves, and I hope that this helps. Peace.